I'm appalled that New Zealand even considers it. I'm appalled that our government doesn't just allow it but invites it and has gone out of their way to make this happen.
John Key made time in his diary this week for a secretive meeting with the boss of an oil company that wants to undertake deep-sea drilling off New Zealand's coast. And the company is controversial. It's party to the Deepwater Horizon spill in the Gulf of Mexico, one of the biggest environmental disasters in history.
Will the government require a substantial bond from Anadarko as an insurance against the possibility of a catastrophic oil leak, which would cost New Zealand taxpayers billions of dollars to clean up?
Were it to drill an exploratory well, it must prepare a discharge management plan. It does not include a bond.
It's appalling that people aren't kicking up a bigger fuss. It's a disgusting, absolutely disgusting situation, and we need to do everything we can not to let these people in. Anadarko was a 25% stakeholder in the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, and they tried as hard as they could to dodge the bullet on that one and not take any responsibility, and that's the kind of corporation that we're inviting into our country and our waters locally. So they're not responsible corporate citizens, if there is such a thing. The Western world just has a huge addiction to fossil fuels, and I feel like New Zealand, instead of leading the way to kind of coming out the end of that and finding new kind of green solutions to all these problems, we're just going for that dollar, that last drop of oil, and I just don't see it as the way forward for New Zealand or for any country. Generally, people are pretty uninformed about it, because unless you read the business section in our newspapers, you would never know that it was even going on. So I think even the people who do know that it's a plan and that it's going to happen, they don't necessarily know all that entails. They don't necessarily know all the politics behind it. They don't know the economics behind it, and they're just shown what the government and what Anadarko wants them to see in the nice little business section there. So I think if people were more informed about the issue and kind of had seen in what happens in other countries when a similar thing happens, they would be outraged.
This is one of these things you know better than me. You tell me so, and all the time.
I just want to say well done, everybody. It's a small minority of people like ourselves who bother to pay attention, who bother to notice what's going on, who will make the difference, who will stop this system from screwing over our beaches and our seas. So kia ora, everybody. Big ups to you all, and remember we've got to build the mass movement.
Yeah, I think once the prospect becomes real to people, then a lot more people will be willing to get on board. I guess part of the problem as well is that the whole country is open to this fossil fuel extraction, and so people are spread pretty thin, fighting all these different lignite and Southland, mining all over the place, fracking. Like, people are spread incredibly thin on what they can fight, and so it's kind of see which thing's coming first and just jump and try and stop it all. So I guess when it becomes a much more immediate threat, a lot of those people will jump in as well. It may prove to be a waste of time. We may have an oil rig off our coast this summer, but at least we can say we tried doing something about it, and I just don't feel like it is a waste of time. Historically, there are a huge number of examples where civil disobedience and people just standing up and saying no has worked a treat. So it's definitely not a waste of time.
Why